You're invited to imagine what's next. What the next view you wake up to will be. Where your next adventures will start from. Your perfect space to entertain. And your sanctuary to unwind in. As you begin to imagine your new place, we'll be here to help you find it. Because nothing compares to what's next. Sotheby'sRealty.com.
You're watching The Urban Agenda, a show that will specifically put the spotlight on making our cities livable, safe, inclusive and sustainable. We kickstart with the massive need of planned development for India's rapidly growing cities. That has been pointed out by our Prime Minister and top officials of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Listen in.
As Honorable Prime Minister keeps talking about urban planning being the main growth driver for urbanization in India, our ministry is working with Ministry of Finance and with all of you so that we go in a certain path which we visualize. Let me share what we are thinking, how we would like states and cities to move forward. One is we realize that half the states in India don't have urban planners. Half the cities, most of the cities don't have urban planners. Smaller cities have no one. Some of the states have one urban planner or a zero urban planner. So we would like more urban planners to be there. We are giving a general direction in which you should move. You could decide your path in consultation with us, whatever works in your state. But we would like urban planning to move forward the way vision of Honorable Prime Minister is there. And in my view, there is no other way for India to become Viksit Bharat unless our cities are Viksit, as Honorable MOS said, and unless our cities are the main drivers of growth. They are the main drivers of employment in our country. They are the main drivers of investment in our country. They do need a catalyst, either in terms of industry or in terms of IT or in terms of any other employment. That catalyst, along with the proper urban planning, can make India Viksit Bharat.
If urban planning of our cities is so critical for India to become Viksit Bharat, where is the Delhi Master Plan 2041? That's the question we ask. And what is the cost of delaying it? Balvinder Kumar, former Vice Chairman DDA and member UP RERA, Ramesh Menon, founder Director Delhi Consortiums, and Dr Surajit Chakravarthy from IIT Delhi, who specializes in urban policy and planning, are my guests today. But before I go to my guests, here's a quick timeline of Delhi Master Plan 2041. Now, the draft MPD 2041 was first uploaded for public feedback in June 2021. It received 33,000 comments from general public, traders associations and RWAs. DDA held multiple stakeholder consultations and incorporated several suggestions into the draft MPD 2041. In February 2022, the LG VK Saxena approved this draft MPD 2041. Now, it was subsequently forwarded to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for final approval and notification, and it lies there. Let me take you back a year. In September 2022, the central government had informed the Supreme Court that MPD 2041 would be implemented on or before 30th April 2023. Well, it hasn't been. We are in August, so we are asking this very valid question. Ramesh, you've got your ear closest to the ground. When we asked Mawa what's happening, they said we are examining it. What is there to be examined, which is taking so long?
Now, in all fairness, the master plan is a guiding document. It does not bring in to implementation the minor tenets. Broadly, if you look at the spatial planning of MPD 2041, it talks about 5 distinct policies. One is the high density development, which is covered under land pooling policy. Second is the low density development stroke recreational stroke educational and social, which is covered under the green development area policy. Then there is the redevelopment of the existing urban infrastructure of Delhi, which is covered under 3 different spatial development programs: TOD, urban regeneration of existing urban areas and regeneration of rural areas. But that does not justify the delay it has caused so far, because the master plan, as you know, from the year 2007, when MPD 2021 was notified, it's a very strange situation that we have not implemented 2021, but we are not introducing 2041. So this limbo is causing a huge amount of loss both to the exchequer as well as to the private sector, which had shown great inclination to invest into Delhi.
Some of these unauthorized colonies have already found their way to the banks of the Yamuna, and the urban flooding was a big wake-up call, if not for how quickly we need at least MPD 2041 to be notified. Dr. Chakravarthy, your views here. I can understand that, look, you don't want to hurry up anything, but what has been hurried up? We've got the public and the RWA feedbacks. We've looked at it. LG has examined it with the DDA officials. It's been cleared at that level. Mahua says that I think one of the biggest issues, or that's what we hear from internal sources, land pooling is what is being looked into and some other things. My question is, we are already 2 years into a plan which is meant for Delhi's development for the next 20 years. How much can we delay it further?
Well, there could be various reasons for the delay. One could be the lessons learned from the Smart Cities mission and the extensive critique that program received. And there's a chance that all of that learning is going to be brought on board when this plan is made. I actually wouldn't mind the delay so much if it was guaranteed in some way that the resultant plan was going to be a much better plan or is going to take on board learnings. But I agree with the previous speaker that the delay is not beneficial to the citizens of Delhi. However,
Mr. Balvinder Kumar, let me come to one of the biggest cost of any delay further in Delhi master plan, and I think we'll focus on the unauthorized colonies. What I hear, it could be hearsay because I haven't seen it, that about 50 to 100 plots are getting cut on the peripheries of Delhi, which has been earmarked for land pooling and green development area, and these are just mushrooming. And we know, you as well as having been the Vice Chairman of DDA, that once an unauthorized area comes up, settlement comes up, it is very difficult to reverse the clock on it.
Absolutely right. In fact, the cause of delay, we were talking about delay in the approval of master plan. This is the main problem, that there are multiple stakeholders and the stakes are very, very high. The problems are extremely challenging in nature. Like if you take traffic or parking or say green area, unauthorized colonies, floodplains, land pooling scheme, TOD, transit-oriented development, all these schemes are extremely complex and number of stakeholders are involved and their stakes are very, very high. That is why this delay is taking place. We must note down that 55% of Delhi population live in unauthorized colonies. 55%. And as per the estimate, by 2050, the percentage will be 68%.
Ramesh Menon, of course it is a complicated process. Any city today which has grown without planning, if you're going to do something with it, is going to be complicated. Here's my question to you. MPD 2041 is just a blueprint of how we should approach various things, various developments, right? Is it written in stone? Can we not keep changing it a little bit? And we will have to, because 20 years is a long time. So then why the delay? Sorry, I'm coming back to it, but I'm just saying that there should not be a delay. We should at least start.
Fair enough. So there is nothing called an ideal plan, right? Cities evolve. thoughts evolve, people needs evolve, so should the plan evolve. But the DDA for the last 15 years is trying to have an ideal plan acceptable to all stakeholders. You see, let me draw an analogy with Singapore in the early 70s was a similar state as Delhi is in today. Look what they have achieved. They were nimble, on the feet and flexible to change the policies. When I say policy, is not the guiding document, but the operational policies. Even today in Delhi, if the master plan is notified, gazetted and sent into the public domain, imagine the wealth of investment that the private sector would bring in.
That brings me to another very important point, Dr. Chakravarthy, and I will ask Mr. Kumar or not. I don't want to put him in the hot seat, but let me ask you this question. You know, we've always, DDA, like Ramesh said, has been trying to find a perfect plan. What capacity does DDA have? If it is going to be the custodian of at least navigating the Delhi master plan or rolling it out, does it have the capacity, physical and also technical, knowledge-wise? How do we even roll it out? I mean, if at all it's notified before the end of this year.
Well, as I see it, I do not think that the DDA sees itself as an implementing agency. I think they see themselves as an agency that sets out a broad vision. And then the line departments and all of the other agencies are in charge of implementing that vision or aligning their activities with that vision. So I really don't even want to analyze too much whether they have implementation capacity, because that's not what they're out to do. With the planning capacity, one would have thought that after all these decades that they had that. However, this particular plan was largely written in NIUA, which is the consulting agency for this plan. And so now one is led to believe that DDA, at least in their own perception, does not have the capacity to make a plan.
Mr. Balvinder Kumar, from what I want to understand from you is, A, yes, there is an urgency, and we hope that after this discussion, there's some pressure and the notification will happen quick enough. B, if you looked at the draft, did it have the right thought and the right, let's say, framework for Delhi's development? If you can just give us your views on that.
Actually, as I was saying earlier, that challenges and constraints are many. So within those constraints, we have to approve the master plan. Master plan means basically you are visualizing what kind of future the city should have. It means the mix of land use of residential, commercial, institutional, then green area, and then traffic, parking. All these are extremely important components of any urban planning. So as I was saying, since the constraints are many, we don't have adequate road infrastructures. So and the space is also vacant, space is not available. So how you will develop parkings? What kind of norm should be there? So if you go into the details, each component is extremely complicated.
I'm hearing that, look, it's so tedious a process that, we might as well not do a planning exercise, because at the end of it, everything is so complicated.
Yes, you are absolutely right that things are not easy, because I have seen in DDA, there are huge complications, but at the same time, there are certain areas where we can still do a lot. Like, say, for example, biodiversity parks or say sports complexes. The DDA which has done in last 2 decades, it's a remarkable job.
Okay.
So within those constraints, DDA is doing its best.
Good. Gentlemen, we've run out of time. I think I've got the gist of it, and there are 3 takeaways. Yes, we need the master plan. No, we do not need a perfect master plan. And 3, there are many aspects of development which needn't be part of the master plan, but we can have policies, we can notify them and get private sector money to come in, stop the unauthorized construction and make sure that the government earns revenues. For God's sake, it's losing revenues if it does not have any kind of planning. Thanks so much for joining me. Well, in the words of Draft Delhi Master Plan 2041, Delhi has always been the showcase city of India. And if everyone from the Prime Minister to the Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, Mr. Hardeep Puri, to the Secretary of MoHUA, Manoj Joshi, who you heard at the start of the show, are crystal clear that our cities cannot thrive and flourish unless we have proper planning and urban planners, then why further delay on Delhi Master Plan 2041 or certain aspects of it? Stay with us as we return with Inspire India, where we capture wonderful stories of citizens and groups truly making a contribution to making our cities better.
You're invited to imagine what's next. What the next view you wake up to will be. Where your next adventures will start from. Your perfect space to entertain. And your sanctuary to unwind in. As you begin to imagine your new place, we'll be here to help you find it. Because nothing compares to what's next. Sotheby'srealty.com